WDXE.
And just in time,
Wow,
we
just man.
just made it. It is 8:05. You're listening and watching WDXE, AM 1370, 105.3 FM, and around the world now on WDXE.com, Facebook, and YouTube.
Wow.
For heaven's sakes.
Man.
We may have to check our egos at the door.
Well, I have one of those.
So, I always have to follow up on things that you talk about. And, in the previous hour, we were talking about a movie, Adam Sandler movie called Mr. Deeds.
Yes.
So, yeah, I did look that up. That is an old Gary Cooper movie.
Gary
it was
Cooper.
called Mr.
Okay.
Deeds.
Yes, right.
Oh, so it was the same name and everything.
And he was Longfellow Deeds.
See, my memory failed. My memory failed me there.
I would have never guessed that wasn't an original idea.
You need to go see. You need to get that old movie and watch it.
Yeah. I like old movies like that, and I have no clue.
And I always liked Gary Cooper movies anyway. Did you?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
You don't remember Gary Cooper movies?
I don't know. So that's me.
Well,
so, have you ever played?
he played Sergeant York.
Oh, really?
Yes.
See, I'm drawing a blank on that.
Sergeant York, our Tennessee hero. You don't know who Sergeant
Alvin York?
Alvin York, Sergeant York.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
You don't remember the movie?
Yeah, no.
Oh.
I'm telling you, I'm behind a little bit. Yeah, we only got like 3 channels of TV at our house growing up, and PBS was one of them that came in, and we watched.
Well, hang on just a minute. I'm going to embarrass you.
Okay.
How long have you been grown?
Oh my goodness.
You've been grown a while, haven't you?
Yeah, but I'm into different stuff these days. I watch a lot of watchmaking.
And the sound, the ASMR videos.
Yeah, if you want the living room by yourself, all you gotta do is turn on the guy fixing to watch. Everybody leaves the room.
That's a good idea. Well, listen, my son would watch that kind of stuff. He watches somebody make something all the time. Daniel is always finding people making something and doing something. That's his thing.
I've gotten it. If you watch one thing, they bombard you with other stuff.
Yeah.
And so I fell asleep with YouTube on, and I woke up and all I get on my content provider now is like these Vietnamese guys making stuff out of pallets and stuff, and it's pretty clever.
The ones that dig the holes and make the stuff.
Make the home out of the hole.
Make a home out of the hole.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Mud homes and all that stuff. Yeah. So now you get to watch all that, huh?
Exactly. And I have to swim through it to get the stuff I want to watch.
That's crazy. I don't know. Anyway, you did find the old movie Mr. Deeds.
Yeah, so it was the exact storyline and everything.
Yeah.
So
it's a great old movie. It really is.
See, I watched like Shirley Temple movies and things like that.
Yeah, I remember those.
Mostly just sitcom type stuff.
Did you? Speaking of that, we took the kids to see the new Trolls movie?
Okay.
Which, by the way, I mean the kids love it.
The
kids love it. The kids love it, but I mean singing and dancing and singing and dancing and singing and dancing. I'm just like, it's not my thing in a movie.
Oh, all the old movies had good dance lines.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not a musical fan.
No, I'm not.
I am too. I do.
You are? I'm not. No, you run a good movie, you start singing and dancing.
That's why I didn't see Sergeant York. Did Gary Cooper dance or sing in that?
He probably didn't.
No, he did not. Well, wait a minute. There is one scene in the church where they're singing that old time religion.
Well, there you go.
Even The Wizard of Oz was a musical.
Yeah, but they did it without you knowing it.
What do you mean?
I didn't realize it was a musical till I was grown.
Every time they journeyed somewhere, it was a musical.
See the wizard.
Yellow Brick Road.
When you sneak the musical in a little bit without people knowing it, that's different.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because the Wizard of Oz, but also Willy Wonka.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
And there's going to be a new one. There's a new Willy Wonka movie coming out. Really? There's a new Willy Wonka movie coming out.
Well, there was one like a couple of years ago with Johnny Depp, right?
Yeah. That's been more than a couple of years.
I like the Gene Wilder one myself.
Oh, it's the Gene Wilder one. I didn't like the new Johnny Depp one, but now this new one that's coming out.
Prequel to the.
It's like how the whole thing started. How he became
origin story. Yeah.
It's like they're supposed to be how Willy Wonka.
It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
All right, so I watch crazy stuff on YouTube. You can look this up. on YouTube. So the music that and I can't remember the song that Pure Imagination is the song, and Gene Wilder sings that song, but it's one of the most complicated songs ever written for a musical. And this guy goes through it on the internet and he shows all the different chords and stuff. And,
really?
Yeah, and Gene Wilder nails it.
Yeah.
I don't know that if they didn't just tailor it to his voice, is why it's so
I may
complicated.
have, yeah.
But it was a very interesting. You see, when I start watching stuff like that, the room empties. You know.
Yeah. I know the song.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Pure Imagination. Is
Yeah.
Where they're in the big room and everything's made to eat.
Yeah.
He swings that. I didn't realize, but he swings that cane around. He just about hits people.
That's a great movie.
Well, you know, that was one of the things when he said that when he wanted to do that. He said, "All right," he said, "but I got a bit I want to do with the cane where he's walking out at the gate and the cane sticks and he does a roll and flip and jumps up."
Yeah.
And that was his bit that he wanted to do. He said, "If I can do that, I'll do the part."
Watch it to pick that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right on the very front end or close to it.
Well, yeah. After they all have the golden ticket and they're waiting at the gate, and he comes walking out there and he's acting all decrepit and stuff because there's so much mystery around. Nobody knows him.
Yeah.
I actually saw the Pawn Stars where he went and the guy had some of those candy bars and some golden tickets from the movies.
Really?
Yeah. He actually had the Gobstopper. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, the
No, I didn't see
Gobstopper.
it.
Yeah. So
The everlasting gobstopper.
I don't know if Rick bought the Gobstopper. I think it was $1 million for it or something like that.
Are you kidding me?
No, but he gave a lot
Well,
of
that's
money.
forever.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I didn't think about that. But you know, you look at it whenever Pawn Stars went there. You know, he had it in a little container that you couldn't touch it, but it was in there. It looked wood. I'm sure it was made of wood.
Oh, okay.
If you had a piece of candy that lasts forever, would you have to share it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, you could, and then wash it off.
Because it lasts forever.
Yeah, and wash it off and put it back in your mouth.
Wash the fuzz off of it.
There you go.
So that'll be some homework for you guys. Go back and look up Pawn Stars and do the Everlasting Gobstopper.
The Willy Wonka.
edition.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually went to the Crockett Theater to see that movie.
Really?
When it came out.
So that's they predate me on there.
See there, I'm telling you. I remember going to that movie, and they actually had Willy Wonka chocolate bars that you could buy.
Really?
Yes,
Wonka
they did.
bars.
They had the
See,
Wonka bars.
I didn't go to the movie. I'd seen it on TV my first time.
Yeah, I actually saw it at the theater.
So you're talking about the old Crockett Theater, right?
The old Crockett
Yeah,
Theater.
obviously.
Yes,
but-
yeah.
So what, was that the first movie you saw down there?
No, I'm sure it wasn't, but I remember going to see that movie.
I think the first movie I went to see down there was maybe Swiss Family Robinson. I think
Oh, really?
It might have been the first.
I seen that one too, I'm sure.
Yeah. But I saw some classics down there. I saw E.T. down there, which I consider to be one of the best movies ever watched.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
saw E.T. there. I saw Smokey and the Bandit, which is very top.
That's top of your list. Isn't it?
Absolutely. So
I remember watching that
I wanted
too.
to be a truck driver after that.
Hey.
And I remember do you remember when they were going to have Smokey and Bandit come on TV?
No, I don't.
You know, they had the movie came out, and I went to the theater to see the movie, and of course it was huge, big deal.
Man,
You know, it was a big deal. Everybody was talking about Smokey and the Bandit. Well, some years later, it actually came on regular TV, and I remember thinking, how in the world are they going to have this movie on TV? Because Jackie Gleason, with every word,
Exactly, yeah.
you know, every word was, the SOB deal.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, how in the world? It ended up, of course, they changed it to Scum Buckets.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
Yeah,
Scum Buckets.
That's because with your lip reader, it's pretty close.
Scum Buckets.
A lot of
So,
overdubbing on that.
Yeah.
Done.
The best line in there is "Hold up on that car wash, boys."
That's right.
He clicks that cigarette.
Yeah. Hold up on that car wash, boy. Walks over and kicks that one in the butt. Says, "That right there is an attention getter."
You got a good Jackie Gleason
Hey,
voice.
me and Chris Kerr would ride many miles and just quote movie quotes like that, just over and over.
Yeah,
Between that and Blazing Saddles.
it's fun I can lay with you there. So
Mine is the one I know a lot of quotes from is not only Smoking Man but Sling Blade.
Sling Blade.
Yeah.
That movie made me so nervous.
Why?
The entire because you knew he was going to do what he did.
You
just didn't know when or how.
Yeah.
And he was just, you just kept thinking that dude's he's going to break sooner or later.
I don't know if Dwight Yoakam was one won any kind of award.
He should have.
He should have, man.
He
He played the best drunk guy that I've ever seen in a movie, period. And that should be a category, best drunk guy in a movie.
Yeah, that should be a category.
Oh, me. He said, if y'all don't shut up, I'm going to go out of my mind.
That's right.
You know?
We don't need to practice, Randy. What we need is a paying gig.
We don't even have a microphone. I mean, we could keep going.
Have you ever seen that movie? In it.
Have you never seen that movie?
What?
Sling
So,
Blade.
yeah, you made him nervous.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. You see, it makes you nervous.
It made me nervous.
I mean, how can a movie make you nervous if they got a place like Hoochie's Dollar Store? I mean,
well,
John Ritter in it playing the gay guy. I mean, it's great.
Yeah. Here's what I liked about the movie Sling Blade is that a lot of times Hollywood will try to do the mannerisms of the South and they miss it altogether or they overdo it.
Right.
This was dead on. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The little boy. I mean, that's the way he talked.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way you talk.
And he had mustard on his French fries.
Oh yeah. And
On
his
the
biscuits.
biscuits. You got biscuits in there.
And listen, I like mustard on my biscuits too because
I will admit, I never thought to try that until I seen it, and I thought, that's pretty good.
I'll tell you what I do like. I don't like just regular mustard. I mean, I like it, but not on a biscuit like that.
yellow French's mustard.
But what I do like is McDonald's has a hot mustard that's really good.
Oh yeah.
You ever get a little hot mustard in that cup?
Yeah.
Lordy help, that stuff's good.
And it's good on your French
chicken
fries.
nuggets.
I'm a sauce guy. I love to try sauces and dips and salsas, different things.
So I'm like you. I like that hot mustard from McDonald's. You get your fries in there. You got a burger. You get your burger in there, but it's good on your nuggets.
Yep.
But the other one that's good is the Polynesian sauce from Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
I've never tried it.
Oh, it's good. It's sort of like a sweet and sour.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And Strikers has the bourbon sriracha.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And then let's see, Rick's their Rick's sauce.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
I buy bottles of it so to keep in the house.
And I like the Rick's white sauce.
Yeah, white sauce is good too.
And to spread the love, at Legends, I like the spicy ranch dressing.
Yes.
For their salad.
That sounds good.
Legends has got good. Well, Johnny's got good honey mustard.
Yeah.
And
buy it in a bottle.
And the steak marinade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a whole line of things.
He's got a whole line of things, but that steak marinade is fantastic.
Yeah, I like that. But on the salad, though, I like that spicy ranch that he's got. I don't know. It's got a name to it. I don't know what it's called.
Spicy ranch?
Maybe spicy ranch.
That's what it is.
It's sort of like, you go to Outback and get the ranch dressing. It's got a little bite to it.
Yeah.
So that's good, too.
Yeah. Anyway, I like spices.
So does this
I'm checking to make sure that we're on like we're supposed to be.
Just crazy things that pop into your mind. The other things I like is you can't beat the Red Lobster biscuits. Those
man,
biscuits.
They got the kits you can buy in the grocery store for them.
Yeah, I've tried it. It doesn't work.
It ain't the same?
No.
That's what I was scared of.
No.
I seen it. I thought, well, that'd be good.
Well, I mean, it's very close, but I don't know. It's just I don't know if they sprinkle stuff on the top of those because it feels when I eat them, I like to turn top down.
You eat your biscuit upside down?
Well, the Red Lobster biscuits, they got a great flavor top down.
Yeah. Well, they brush them.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
They're brushing them probably with a little butter, garlic butter, whatever.
That's what I'm not doing at home.
Oh, okay.
I'm just cooking them.
I'm taking a guess there. I think that's what's happening too. You could probably make them if you did that.
I bet you're right.
So there you go. There you go.
Well,
it's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
It's Thanksgiving weekend tomorrow, and tomorrow Thanksgiving, and a lot of people will be off. This is supposed to be the most traveled holiday.
I can attest to that. My service manager sent me to Atlanta one year, and I had to come back on this day. It took me 12 hours to get here.
You could have drove and been home. What? It takes 3 hours to get in there. You've been home 9 hours earlier.
Yeah. No, I did drive. That's what I'm saying. I got stuck in traffic. Everybody was driving.
Yeah, there's so many people. You're going to have to keep up over there.
I thought you were flying.
I wish I was, but my arms got tired, so I had to drive the rest of the way.
Saw that one coming.
Boom, boom.
Saw that one coming.
That would hit me right in the face.
Anyway.
That's a good setup. Thank you.
Yep.
You're very good at that.
What's your big plans for the weekend? You got any big plans?
Us?
Yeah.
Well, we'll do the traditional Thanksgiving late, what we'll call lupper.
Okay.
Lunch and supper.
Yeah, that's how we do.
It'll probably somewhere in that 4 to 5 o'clock range. We'll begin to gather and.
The older you get, Jeff, that's supper now.
Well, I know. Yeah, that's right. Well, see, but we're having to accommodate our younger folks too, so we're putting that spin on it to get it just right.
So we had our Sunday. We had the Durham Thanksgiving Sunday out at Salem Church, and there were 60 plus of us out there. And I would look around and say, okay, whose kids are these?
Yeah. Who in the world are these people?
Who had kids that I didn't know about that now they're old enough to be in school? I have no clue who they are.
Could have been some neighborhood kids.
Could have been. We had plenty.
Feed everybody.
Plenty of food going in.
Well, good deal. How come? Oh, well, never mind. I was going to say, how come I didn't know about this?
You kind of kept it a secret.
We might have shown up.
Yeah, we're going to be back on December 17th for our Christmas, our Durham Christmas.
So y'all hadn't had enough of each other yet.
So this is we get together. My grandma and grandpa on my dad's side. My mom is from Seattle, so I never really. I can't say I never really knew them. I never, to my knowledge, saw my mom's mom and dad. My mom's mom died when she was young, and when my mom was young. I have been to Seattle with my mom back in the 70s, but I can't remember meeting my grandfather there. So the only grandparents I knew were my daddy's mom and daddy. And then they had, that's the family that gets together.
Okay.
It's the Willie and Opal Durham family that gets together, and there's a bunch of us now. It's a good voting block if you want to come out and
campaign a little bit.
That's good.
So, but we always have a good time. We're a close-knit family, and there's no cousin Eddies that show up, if you know what I mean.
Well, you know what they say. If you don't know who the cousin Eddie is, it's probably you.
Well, I was going to say,
you might be right.
I can go ahead and tell you that we're the cousin Eddies.
But don't you look forward to that though?
What?
The cousin Eddies.
Oh yes.
Well, of course.
Ours is
many years ago, we were at a family get together, and it doesn't matter whose family it is, but the folks that were there, they had a little pet dog that was there, kind of a hound dog more or less. We were eating outside, and it was some kind of, I don't even know what for we were getting together. It might have been 4th of July, whatever it was. Teresa and I don't think we're even married yet. Okay, but anyway, one of the other family members had brought their dog with them. Okay, and so the person who lived at this place, the visiting dog was kind of under the table at his feet, and he gave it a good kick, went kind of out sideways of the table there, and let out a little yap. And the owner of that dog says, "Why are you kicking my dog?" I said, your dog's here." He said, "My dog lives here."
You remember cousin Eddie's dog under the table?
Yeah.
He hacked something up. I mean, it was the worst.
He said, "Eddie, if you want to feed the dog underneath the table, he wouldn't get choked like
your dog's under the your dog's under the table." He said, "Yeah, but my dog lives here."
He's nosing around.
That's
in the
his spot.
Yeah, it's his spot.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So anyway, that was that.
And we didn't even have all the cousins there. Used to it was all my grandparents' children. And, now Janet is the only one that's still alive, so it's all the first cousins. So I've got a lot of first cousins, and so we're the old folks now, and we all get together. We have a first cousins picture is what we have.
And there used to be a hood reunion over in Pulaski area for my dad's family, and my dad's dad, my grandfather, had a brother, Sam, and they both had 11 kids. And they used to have a hood reunion over at Sam Davis Park, and they did it about every year.
Over in the hood, right?
But yeah,
I mean, it had to be.
But that has kind of gone by the wayside after those generations have gone, and it just doesn't happen anymore.
Well, it was sort of like that with us. When Mima passed away, it was people started going their own separate way. There was not I guess we all got together. It'd be close to 100 of us, but people have their own things to do now.
Right.
If Mima was alive, they would all be there. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I'm sure there are people that still do those kind of things. We don't have the big family gatherings like we used to.
Right.
Just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, we do it a couple, 3 times a year. So
well, that's good. You should do it while you can.
Yeah.
Well,
what you should do and what we don't do now, it crosses my mind every time, is we take a lot of pictures, but they're on somebody's camera. But we need to print those out somehow and then write on the back of them who they are.
And what the date is.
Yeah, countless times we've been looking at the pictures and say, okay, who is this? And we could have, we could have known who that was. And speaking about that, so my daddy's cousin, Ira Mae Nix, lives in Nashville, and her Ira Mae would be her brother Dean Eagleton was here. He comes and visits. And so, he would have been my dad's cousin also. But he said, hey, Ira Mae's got a newspaper clipping about your great granddad. And so
really?
She sent that to me.
Yeah.
So my great granddad, his name was Ed Durham, and he married a lady named Etna. And they were from Giles County. And they moved. He was a logger and stuff, and he moved over to Lawrence County and lived in Weber City. So my dad grew up in Weber City.
Okay,
cool. And went to school at Etheridge. And so anytime they had an old Etheridge reunion or Weber City, my dad would go. And when I go up there, a lot of people say, "Hey, I remember your dad," and and the Durhams living here. They lived out on the East End Road for a long time. And,
yeah.
The house is not there anymore. I got to ride around with my aunt, and she showed me some of those things. And, my grandmother had a child that died young and was buried out in the old Benson Cemetery out there.
Yeah.
And it's if you don't know how to get there, you can't make it. But anyway, they've got a lot of roots up there in the Weber City Etheridge area. But I wish that we would write those things down. So even if you start at your grandparents, as old as we are, there's probably 3 or 4 generations already here that you could keep up with at least start there, move forward.
Have you done the genealogy thing and or the DNA thing to see where your background is? Have you done any of that?
So let me tell you, I've got a story that's funny.
Okay.
So I have not, to answer that question, I have not personally, but my mother has.
Okay.
All right. So my mother is from Seattle. And my dad was in the Army, and he met her in Seattle, and they moved back to Lawrenceburg.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So, but my mother, her great-great-great-great-grandfather was Moses Spencer. Moses Spencer is one of the founders of Lawrence County, Tennessee. And,
really?
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this. Yeah.
And so, and I have a lot of kin folks. The Alleys. I'm kin to Clint Alley and them through the same ancestor.
Okay.
But my mom has tracked her family moving all the way to the West Coast, and for her to marry a guy from Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, and then move back, what kind of phenomenon?
That's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fate.
So she's gone full circle.
Yeah.
So anyway, but on my dad's side, my Uncle J.W. did that. So somewhere he's got this genealogy goes way back. Now Edna Tucker, which I was talking about, my great grandfather Ed Durham, he married Etna Tucker. She was a Tucker from down around the Fall River area, and there's a lot of Tuckers still down there. So we used to have a Tucker reunion, and I would go there every once in a while. I don't remember the folks there or anything like that. So
interesting.
Yeah, we could talk about genealogy forever.
We're all kin somehow.
Yeah. We all go back to Adam somewhere. I'm looking for that chain of where I go back to royalty somewhere, and it's they're waiting to pass it down to whoever.
Prince.
That reminds me, talking about being kin folks. That reminds me, there was I know you to be somewhat of a Bible studier.
I try to
and a scholar in that. And of course, if you study the scriptures and you want to kind of dive in deep, you begin to look into doctrines and teachings, those kind of things. A lot of people run from you if you say doctrine.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the doctrines. They say, "Oh my gosh," and they run from you. But I've studied it enough and looked at it enough that I also enjoy a good what's called a debate. Now a lot of people they don't. Well, I understand that people don't want to argue the Bible, blah blah blah, and I don't mean arguing, but I'm talking about really scriptural debates where you're trying to dig in and find out what's true and what's not true about a teaching.
Yeah.
Well, he was talking about being kindred folks. There was these two Bible scholars on kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. One was a Church of Christ and one was something else. Okay. And so they're in a debate. It's a staged debate where people come and they're debating. And the one that's not a Church of Christ keeps calling him brother so-and-so, I'll do this. And he's saying brother. Well, the Church of Christ fella gets up and says, you need to quit calling me brother because you're not in the church and you're not my brother. He said, well, if I miss you in Christ, I'll get you an Adam.
I like that.
So we're all brothers, whether we like it or not.
Exactly. Oh, man. If you miss you in your second birth, he'll get you in the first birth.
That's right. That's right.
So, you talk about doctrines. The greatest doctrine in Scripture is the doctrine of God.
Amen.
And so there's not a chapter or
that's right.
Say anything you can't read that's not a revelation.
That's right. And I didn't say that to offend anybody whatsoever.
No.
I just I thought that was kind of
funny.
fun.
I didn't mind
Yes.
like that. So anyway,
who would take offense to that?
No. I'm looking forward to one thing I look forward to is we go to my wife's aunt's house for the Thanksgiving on her side of the family. And somebody brings poke salad, and I really love it.
Poke salad? You like poke salad?
Yeah, and I listen, and that's if I get to eat it one time a year, and it's there.
You could have it more if you wanted it.
Yeah, it's right.
I'm afraid to cook it. I don't know how to. My mom knows how to cook it, but I don't know.
They say if you don't do it right, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, is it poisonous if you don't?
That's what I've always heard growing up. So I don't know.
I have no idea.
So how they do theirs?
She puts eggs in it. I guess like boils it down and fries it down and put eggs in it.
Okay.
Whatever, but it's good.
And it's poke salad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fresh poke salad?
I don't know if it can be fresh that time of year, is it?
I don't know.
Yes, poke salad is best in the spring, and then if it gets big, it's too. I think it's too big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Turnip greens are big. Don't they come in this time of year?
See, I'm not. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are picking them. I saw
people getting turnip greens this time of year, aren't they?
You can pick turnip greens all winter long, but poke salad is an early spring deal. I might be wrong. Somebody might call in and say,
we could ask Annie.
Yeah, you can ask Annie.
Poke salad, Annie?
Ask Siri.
Gator got your greens?
Ask Siri when you have to stop eating poke salad.
Google it. Yeah, we can Google it. That's right.
And it's not, is it salad, S-A-L-A-T or S-A-L-A-D?
I thought it was a D, but,
we pronounce it salad.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Salad with a T in this thing.
Oh, no.
Enunciations.
Well, do you guys want to get into the conversation we had?
I do. I've been waiting on you to get it.
Okay, good. So,
what did you start anyway?
Last week, if you remember, we started on the 5 challenges experienced by Christian men today, and it could be just being men in general, And so, we talked about the first thing we talked about last week was men don't know what a man is. We're living in a society where folks are scared to death to give a definition of what either a man or a woman is.
Isn't that stupid?
That's just the craziest thing I've ever been.
That just blows me away.
You know what though? I spoke to somebody, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, and we were talking about kids, and I've got a 12-year-old, and Jeff, I know you have young kids too. Yeah. And I'm thinking, wow, they're growing up in this generation. She said, you know what? These children were born for this generation, just like you and I were born for the generation we live in. My dad would probably did say when I was young, oh my goodness, I can't believe my kids are going to grow up in the 70s and, and things that's going on in the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah.
And so, but the children today are born for this generation. Yeah. And I thought, well, you know what? That's true. They're gonna hear things and they're gonna see things that I can't even dream of even happening in public.
Right.
And but we have to prepare our kids for that. It's up to us as men, Christian men, to prepare our children, the next generation, for the world that's before them. So
yeah, I agree with you.
Anyway, that's not even part of the conversation today. But somebody told me that yesterday or day before yesterday, and then I thought, well, that's a good way to look at that. So we talked about men don't know what a man is and the definitions of what men are today, and how we're even it's almost being a man is something you have to apologize for these days, especially being a white man. So,
yeah.
Either way, the second thing is men have greater demands on their time. So the article that I read went back, I guess a couple generations where men were basically in the workplace and women were in the home and keeping the home, and how it hasn't been a complete role reversal, but it's a more of a there's men in the home and women at work and vice versa, and how men's roles have changed over the generation, the last couple of generations. And I'm part of that. My wife works, and thank goodness my wife works because I'm out of a job right now. So thank you, Amy. And so, but anyway, the men these days want to be involved with their family more.
Yeah.
And which is a good thing. It's so the article is not portraying this as a bad thing. It's just saying, hey, one of the things that men are involved in these days, they're more involved with their family. And I'm the same way. I want to spend more time with my kids than
Do you share more responsibilities of keeping the house too than say like your father?
I guess maybe because my mom worked, but when I go back and remember those days of being home, my mom got up early and she was cleaning the house early. Like she would vacuum you out of bed.
That was your alarm clock.
Yeah, my goodness. Well, I gotta tell you a story about growing up. So I don't know about y'all's house, but when I think about the house that we grew up in, it was just we lived out in Richardson Acres, and we had a formal living room that we had nice furniture in.
Yeah, and y'all don't go in there.
That's exactly right.
Don't go in there.
Nobody could go in that
That's
living
for
room. Company and Santa Claus, the only people come in that room.
We had one of those rooms, yeah.
Yeah.
That's just how houses was back then.
Yeah, I mean, you had a room that was ready for company. Ours isn't like that anymore.
No.
Basically, these days, most people want to walk into the kitchen. And
that's right.
That was the last place you invited company when my mom and dad's generation was the kitchen. So I don't know how we got off on that, but
I'm sorry.
that's okay. You can tell how shallow my thoughts are. And so men have greater demands on their time, and today, on average, men have 17 different employers during a lifetime and 5 different careers. And I made this statement the other day, and I didn't know that I was making it in comparison to the article that I had read. But you think about my dad. My dad stayed at Bell South for 30 plus years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got men like O'Neill Stanford, who I grew up working for at Quick-Mart and Edwards Oil Company. He was at the company 45 plus years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a rarity these days to have.
Very rare.
And also what's rare is to work for a company that offers a pension, and things like that. Those companies, and that's what made people stick around is
you had something to work for.
You had something to work for in the end, and it's just things aren't like that anymore.
Joe Brewer texted me just now. He said he was a go-getter. He said, I'm a go-getter.
Yeah.
He said, my wife works and I go get her.
That's right.
I like that. Oh, man.
How about that?
All right, so the third thing, and this is where we didn't get to last week, the third thing, the 5 challenges experienced by Christian men today, the third thing is something that's pretty tough, guys. It says that men are crippled by sexual temptation today. Men are crippled by sexual temptation. And I would attribute most of that to the internet.
Yeah.
The access to the internet. And I don't know if you guys watch any short videos like TikToks or YouTube Shorts or anything like that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things come on, and for whatever it is, the feminist movement today in 2023. The feminist movement today, part of that is how many men you've been with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's called body count. Young ladies feel like it is their rite of passage. The higher the body count they have.
You're kidding.
I'm not kidding you at all.
Well, that's completely backwards from when I grew up.
That's exactly right. And these young ladies have new avenues to explore those things, and they got I guess I can't even talk about it because I really don't know about it. But they got a new platform that they can go and be compensated for that. And it's called Fans Only.
Are you serious?
And it's a pornographic place. It's a place it's a pornographic place. It's a place where you wouldn't believe when you get on and you look at. I'm not saying look at the pornographic stuff, but there's the guys that are interviewing these ladies, and they're saying, like, what's your body count? She's like, I'm probably 150 or so.
Good Lord.
You know, and they're doing that to bring people to their fans only page, and anyway, it's just, and that's the way these young ladies are getting paid these days, and it's atrocious. But what's on the other side of that is the market is out there. There's people out there watching that more than ever, and So whenever you talk about men are crippled by sexual temptation, it's because the market is there and the availability is there, and it's just.
Well, I guess and I'm not familiar with what you're talking about, but you're in that arena. The amount of followers you have, I guess, dictates the amount of money that you may be able to generate with your site.
That's correct.
Somehow. So you're developing followers.
Well, what happens is on that particular service that I was talking about, you subscribe to that. You pay to go see those things, watch those things, and that's how they make their money.
Unreal.
The site makes a little bit of money off of it, but I'll say a little bit. I don't know what the percentage is, but they're not making small change either. They're making a lot of money off of it, and the reason is because men are getting online and watching that stuff. So,
well, we were talking early this morning before this, slightly off of what you're talking about, but early this morning I got a phone call before you guys got here, and it was off the air, and a gentleman asked me, did I think it was disrespectful for young men or boys or men to wear a ball cap in church? And personally, I do. Yeah. I think it's but I thought about it and I thought, well, they haven't been taught.
That's right.
The ones that they haven't been taught that. So, and this kind of bleeds into what you're talking about, is we haven't taught our young men to be men and young men.
Yeah.
And this is something that Teresa and I have talked about. Teaching Daniel and our young men to respect women,
right,
the right way. And but there's such a world of exposure these days that it's hard to even fathom.
Well, let's talk about that a minute, because it's not just hats these days.
Yeah.
So here's my take on this. I think it's disrespectful for me to wear a hat in church.
Yeah.
And does that pass my mind when I see somebody else? Because I do see folks wear hats at church.
Yeah.
But if there is somebody that's new to the church, and they're wearing a hat, I've got no issue with that whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, we understand, and I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you that when somebody's new to it or haven't been taught differently or that kind of thing, I agree.
All right. So I got into a discussion online, probably it was back in the early summer, about coffee in church. Now,
here we go.
We get serious now.
Here we go.
So,
listen, you quit preaching, started meddling now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm okay with coffee, and let me tell you why.
Yeah.
So I was a member of First Baptist Church for 30 something years of my life before I got married, and they built probably the first gymnasium that a church had. All right. So I remember being against that. I mean, why do you need a gym at church? That was the thought that was just stuck in my mind.
Yeah.
But if you ever go and study Paul, and Paul's, the way that he presented Christ to people, he would become whatever he needed to be to share Christ with you. Mm-hmm. And if he needed to dribble basketball to get you on the same court, that's what he would do, I believe. And so I thought, that's that perspective of it. But if you're just going to have a gymnasium for the fact of having a gymnasium, but if you want to have a gymnasium and while people are there, they get to hear the gospel of Christ, that is awesome.
Yeah.
But we diverged from coffee in church. So, I grew up where, I eat before you go to church. That was just, you eat and drink in church. But my Sunday school class, we have coffee. I have a coffee, and one of our class members makes coffee, and I'm perfect with that. Yeah. And I believe that even if Paul himself, if he had to have a cup of coffee with you, share Christ with you, he'd pour him a hot cup of coffee. Yeah.
Well, he wrote, when in Rome, do as the Romans.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
what he wrote. and the twist on that is, when in Rome, shoot Roman candles.
There you go. So,
that's not that he compromised the truth.
right.
He didn't compromise the truth of the gospel, but he found a way to relate to people, which is what you're talking about.
That's right.
And being in sales, which I have been all my life, you can't get very far with anybody until you can find a way to relate to them and communicate.
Yeah.
And that's basically where you're headed with this, is you've got to find a way to communicate with someone. And to communicate even the gospel, you have to get on a plane with them, the same plane. You can talk above them or below them, and you're not going to reach them.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep, it sure does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and along those same lines, I can remember, there's a lot of discussion sometimes about kids running through the church and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I got a different take on that too. I used to think.
So you pro nursery or?
Well, obviously there's a good purpose for the nursery, and more people need to step up and be nursery workers, I guess.
We have that same conversation.
Every church does.
Yeah.
And I see both sides of it. I mean, I do. I mean, have the kids in there and let them experience it. And because where we were going to church at, and CJ was little, and she put on the show. I mean, she's back there, and she'd take off running. Like, oh man, come here.
We call it. You ain't got them kids church broke.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the people in church was great. I mean, we love hearing that. We love hearing
so
kids and stuff.
That's where I was going with this.
Yeah.
So, I go to Emmanuel Baptist Church, and I love our church. You've got a great pastor, and if you're looking for a place to go, come to Emmanuel Baptist Church. My Sunday school class starts at 10 o'clock. We have coffee. You can come out.
See,
I'll put a plug in.
There you go.
There was a time when, back in the late 90s, that our congregation, I wasn't a member there yet, but the congregation had gotten pretty low. And then, people started coming there, and then, kids are running around, and the older folks in the church are thinking, well, the kids are going to tear the church down. And listen, when I was young, I guarantee you, my teachers thought, well, the Durham boys fixing to burn this place down.
And I knew mom or dad, somebody was fixing to get a hold of me for doing something.
Oh, yeah. My dad was a pincher from way back.
Exactly. Squeeze that hand, boy. You just, it hurts.
my mother used to pinch me on the back of the arm and twist, back here.
Yeah.
And she would twist that little deal right there.
Did you ever scream out loud and make her quit?
Heck no, you don't do that.
Get it again, wouldn't you?
That's right.
But I can remember an elderly gentleman stood up in church one day, and he had been a member of that church for years, and he saw it, dwindle down. And a lot of the thoughts going through our mind were, well, there's just kids running everywhere, and it's loud.
Mm-hmm.
And he just started crying, and he's like, you don't know how long we waited to hear children speak.
That's great.
Come through the hallway, and I thought,
That's pretty awesome.
That gave me a total new perspective on that. You know what? Even if they accidentally break a wall, we can fix it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I didn't just like turn her loose. I mean, you still try to wrangle her, but
Oh yeah.
But that day, he was.
Hey, on the two sides of the coin here, we love having the children, and we normally we've kept our kids in the sanctuary.
Yeah.
Okay, for the most part. But I understand a parent that might want some peace and quiet for the hour, and have a nursery where they can enjoy the worship service without having to wrestle the kids.
Yeah.
I understand all that.
Yeah.
But we've kept ours on the pew.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and that's one great thing out there at Pleasant Grove. I mean, you want a break? Any of them, they come get your kid, and they set up everything. I mean, there's no problem. They was great. Of course, they give them children's service and hop them up full of candy and send them back home with you. But
yeah. That's okay.
Yeah, it's great.
I always had Kool-Aid. So men are exposed. We'll get back to our conversation on this. Men are crippled by sexual temptation, because I only got about 10 more minutes. Men are exposed to pornography from a younger age. You know what the average age that that guys are exposed to?
There's no telling now.
12. 12 is the average age of exposure now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because of the access to the internet.
What do you consider pornography?
Well, to a 12-year-old, some of the language and body language that these, I mean, if they even watch TikTok for 5 minutes, I guarantee you the exposure is there. Even though they may not be naked, sexual exposure is there.
So that's probably middle school age?
Yeah, my son is at
Daniel's 12.
6th and 7th grade.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's any young. That's probably about when.
And the only exposure we had was in,
somebody found their daddy's Playboy magazine or something.
no, I was even going to go
okay.
from that.
Well, you.
I was going to say that, we were scared to death of girls when I was in 6th and 7th grade. And we had square dancing back
Scared to death of them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You had dancing in PE back in.
Yeah. I can remember Elmer Brown doing square dancing.
Yeah.
Heeling, sliding, kick. And you had to hold a girl's hand doing that. And I'm telling you.
You had formal dance. I mean, you had I actually had to contact the girl. Yeah, no, it was.
I remember those Adams twins. They were pretty. We were scared to hold their hand.
Yeah.
Terrified.
So.
And that's probably why they done it. So you wouldn't, because it's like they'll have a little dance out there at the Crockett, and I'll get so tickled just because it's like they're all excited and they go in there, and the boys go on one side of the gym and the girls go on the other side of the gym, and that's how it pretty much. Maybe one or two will get brave enough. But it's hilarious. I'm like, y'all are here to dance.
So they had a fall dance at Kaufman. Spencer goes.
Yeah.
He goes up there with some buddies, and basically I don't know what exactly what happened because I wasn't in there, but an hour later they're home. So here's what takes place. They go in, they spend their money at the concession stand, and they call us to come get them. So basically, it's over.
They went for popcorn and a drink.
Oh,
they had to buy a ticket to that too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They had to pay to get in. All right, so here's according to the article that I read right here, the research that they've done, 64% of Christian men say they view pornography at least once a month.
Unbelievable.
And I'm telling you, and that might be, I don't know if that number is on purpose, if they purposely do that, or if it's accidental, because you can accidentally.
Some of these TikToks and reels and stuff, I mean, it depends on what you consider inappropriate.
Yeah.
So, I used to work on people's computers, and people would bring their computers. And the first thing they'd give me a disclaimer as soon as I walked in the door. I had some nasty stuff pop up on my screen, and so that's okay because it does happen.
It absolutely does.
It does happen. But these days, it's more targeted content. So
it is that.
And listen, I'll just tell you straight out, I can tell the difference whether you typed it in or if it popped up.
That's my next question.
And I can tell you your dwell time on there and all this kind of stuff.
You accidentally done it 350 times this month.
Oh, mate. So the Christian men, they asked the Christian men, what is the number one sin you'd like to put to death in your life? And 60% of men under 45 years old said they would name sexual sin as one of those.
Yeah.
So obviously it's one of those things that just infiltrate our society these days.
Well, it's always been a temptation.
Yeah.
It always has been, and it's amplified today in a way it never has before.
Exactly. So the number 4, we're going to try to get one more in today. Men are too easily pleased these days. They're too easily pleased.
You have to explain that.
Okay, so here I'll just read you the first paragraph of the article. This is the author saying this. I spoke with a pastor recently who shared that he believes that the main goal for many men in his church is to purchase a house. If they can't do this, they feel that they failed as a man and as a husband and a father. So he's saying that the material things of the world are what men are striving for today. And that's too easy of a goal, that men don't have any eternal goals. And think about that men don't have any eternal goals to work for. He goes along to say this right here. Men are in great need of self-sacrificing, God-glorifying, life-shaping purpose, a mission to give their lives to. So it's not just a mission to purchase a house, but what other mission in life do you have? What other godly mission do you have? The Scripture tells us to store up our treasures in heaven, not here on earth.
Right.
And everything that I'll go ahead and add to this, and I get to say this in Sunday school every once in a while. Everything that we own, everything.
That's right.
Clothes on our back, the houses that we live in.
That's right.
Our cars that we drive, everything is in a state of decay.
That's right.
It will be, if you walked away from it, it would be completely gone in a matter of time.
That's right.
So we find ourselves living in a society, as men living in a society, that we are striving for these things that are decaying.
Yeah.
And so what this author says that that's one of the things that plague Christian men, that we don't have any goals, like heavenly goals or things like that. So I think it's C.S. Lewis put it like this: men have become far too easily pleased with the things of this world.
There you go.
And that's a good statement.
Yeah, very good. I like C.S. Lewis, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So here, the last one, and we'll talk about this for just a few minutes. The last thing that's plaguing men is that men do not have friends. All right. Now, I consider myself lucky in this area because I grew up with a group of guys, and we still hang out to this day. But I want to read you some of this. Nearly all men, 97% of men, agree making time for their mates. And this was written in Australia, so they said mates. Making time for their mates means friends.
Yeah. Okay, we got it.
While nearly 97% of men agree making time for their mates is essential. The majority, 85% of males, are struggling to find enough time for much needed man time with their friends. So do you guys have man time that you get to spend with your friends? And luckily I get to say this, I do. I get to spend man time just about every weekend with the guys I hang out with. And,
I can't say it's that often.
Okay.
I used to have mornings with a group of guys.
Like coffee and breakfast and stuff?
Yes, had coffee with a group of guys and we weren't like super close friends, but there was man talk, okay?
Yeah.
And I found out about things going around, and I miss that. I don't have that anymore. They're past and gone, most of them, and we don't gather like we used to. And then there was years ago, I used to have a group of guys that I met with on Fridays for lunch, and that was pretty regular. But as of right now, I don't have a regular thing. I have some friends that I could go to and say, "Hey, let's get together." You know, there's a good handful.
And what about like on Sunday night when church is out? Do you go out and eat as a group? And
no.
So we used to, before COVID, our church, we had, after Sunday night service, we would go eat, and then it was a good man time, because guess what? It was all, the women would sit together and the men would sit together, and it was all about sports and sewing or stuff like that. You had your different conversations that you could be a part of. And I miss those times. But listen to this. It says, an article in the Boston Globe earlier this year said the biggest threat facing middle-aged men isn't smoking or obesity, it's loneliness. And so...
Interesting.
Yeah. And listen, that's probably not just for men, that's for a lot of folks. Listen, being lonely is horrible.
Yeah.
And so, if you're listening today and you suffer from loneliness, get up and make it a good day. And get up and, hey, see how many people that you can see at Walmart. That's
awesome. Just walk through and smile at them. And say,
you know what's funny is even with people that you may not necessarily know, if you reach out and are friendly to them or just say something, you'd be surprised at how well it goes.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
You're right. You're
most of the time.
You get a crowd person.
Even going in and out of a convenience store sometimes, like, hey man, how's it going with you today? Whatever. Just because I like to do it.
Yeah. And the quick mark number 30 up here, you walk in, they say hello, they know you by name. That's what I like.
Yeah, I do too. Let's see who's on the phone. Hey, how you doing this morning?
Hey,
good, buddy.
Hey, y'all talking about old guys being lonely. I'm 66 and I got two of the best dogs in the world.
You got to have friends, don't you, buddy?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Ray.
I think that's a good.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
You hang in there, buddy. Hey, come see me, okay?
I will.
All right.
I'm trying to get out the bar again.
Okay, buddy. See you, man. Very good.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a dog that is my best friend, but she protects me. So.
Well.
Cat, not so much.
But we talk about. We always have guys' night on Saturday. Most every Saturday, and sometimes it's not. There's some things that get.
One of our men's Sunday school classes, they get together at least once a month for kind of a cookout gathering at one of their houses.
Okay.
And now I'm not part of that group because I teach a Sunday school. I teach a couples Sunday school class.
Yeah.
And so my class, doesn't do that. We're couples.
Yeah.
But he has a men's class. One of our men's classes, they get together quite. And I think it's been real. From what I hear from them, they really enjoyed getting to do that.
Right.
So I've told them that I'm going to crash their party. I'm going to come one time. Hadn't done it yet, but I'm going to. I'm planning on going myself.
Party crasher.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for letting me come today, a day early.
Well, listen, I'm so glad you did because I really didn't have anything planned for this
Well,
day.
that worked out.
And so we're just happy. And of course, tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. We do have to. We're over time. We're going to have to get on out of here. I've got the other part turned down, so we get out of here.
All right.
But hey, you guys have a blessed Thanksgiving. Be safe. Good Lord willing, I guess we'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
See you guys.
50 of their hostages back, mostly women and children. In exchange, Israel will be releasing 150.
So your clock's